Well, you may have heard about the Kirwan Commission and its education recommendations, but are not clear about what it all means. Well, in 2016, the Maryland legislature established the Commission on Innovation and Excellence, the idea to make our school systems among the best in the world by addressing a number of long-standing issues.
From getting and keeping qualified teachers, increasing their pay, eliminating the achievement gap between white and minority students, to fixing inequities in school funding so that poor school districts receive a greater share. And now a working group is nearing final recommendations on just how the state and local governments will split the nearly $4 billion it will cost to revamp K-12 education for the first time in a decade.
The problem is Prince George's and Baltimore City are already underfunded and would be hit the hardest economically. Joining us to talk about what's at stake here is Senator Jim Rosapepe. Thank you for joining us to help us sort this all out.
Thank you.
So now tell me, can you give us an idea of what the Kirwan Commission's mission and recommendations as far as upgrading the school systems in Maryland is concerned?
Well, the mission was to improve the schools for all kids. Part of that is related to running schools in a different way. For example, unlike the most high-performing school systems in the world, we have a minority of our kids who go to pre-K. So one of the recommendations is expanding for 4-year-olds access to pre-K on a universal basis. That's good for the kids. It's frankly also good for the parents, because right now parents are paying for child care, working parents, whereas if we expand pre-K, it'll be a tremendous financial relief for working parents.
We've heard on numerous occasions the governor say that this is going to lead to higher tax increases. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts, he's got some Republican talking points. I mean, when he doesn't want to do something, when he doesn't want to work with us on improving the schools, which he hasn't been. I mean, he's been quite unengaged in this whole process. Over the last 4 years, I guess, that he's been governor, he basically has only funded education at the level required by the legislature. We just haven't seen the initiative from him. We haven't seen the investment from him. And frankly, with the Kirwan Commission, all he does is hold press conferences, put out press releases. It's a little bit, not exactly, this is an exaggeration, like President Trump's tweets. Not involved in trying to solve the problem, and then throws out some inflammatory language to try to make political points.
Okay, so again, following up on Patty's questions, and if not that, then what is it going to take? How does Prince George's County or the state, how do they split the cost of paying for this plan, which is estimated to be about $4 billion?
Yeah, I think we shouldn't get hung up on that number, because that number didn't come down from God. That's an estimate that the commission has put together of the additional money that they believe is needed 11 years from now. So in reality, we did the first year of Kirwan funding this year out of existing resources. Last year, the voters passed a constitutional amendment guaranteeing that 100% of the money from casinos and from gambling goes to education, does not supplant other money going to education. That will create more revenue going to education forever. So I think when the legislature comes back in January, we have to look at it and see what is going to cost how much, when, what are the sources of revenue, and figure out how to do it. Obviously, we're very concerned about making sure that Prince George's, I'm concerned about it, living in